Very good morning to one and all. Okay, in the yesterday's lesson, we are discussed about the bridge types, different types of bridges, and what are the AC and DC bridges. Okay, so under the DC bridges, we are discussed about the Wheatstone bridge. So in the Wheatstone bridge, we will obtain the balance condition. So balance condition is R1, R4 is equals to R2, R3. So from the four arms of the bridge, so we will derive the balanced equation. That is when the bridge is balanced, the product of the R1 and R4 is equals to the product of R2 and R3. Okay, so when this condition or balancing condition is occurred, the bridge is balanced. We will say that the bridge is balanced. In such situation, the detector will shows the zero reading. The detector will indicate zero reading. So when the detector shows the zero value or a zero indicating, so then we can say bridge is balanced. It means R1, the resistance R1 and R4, multiplication of R1 and R2 is equals to R2 and R3. R2, R3. Okay. So in today's lecture, we will see the AC bridges. AC bridges. So in the previous case, we are seeing the DC bridges. Under DC bridge, we are studied about Wheatstone bridge for measurement of unknown resistance. For measurement of unknown resistance. So whereas coming to AC bridges, so what are the main uh, components present in AC bridges when compared to DC bridge? We will see. So in this AC bridge, we will measure the impedance. So impedance is appears when there is an AC signal is applied at the input. When we apply the input is an AC signal or alternating voltage, in such situation we will get the impedance. Okay, so impedance for the capacitor and inductor. Okay, and this is we will obtain when there is audio frequency and radio frequency signals are applied at input side. Okay, and these are generally measured by using Wheatstone bridge. Here also we use the Wheatstone bridge, but the notation is somewhat different when compared to DC Wheatstone bridge. So here it is AC Wheatstone bridge. So the diagram of the AC Wheatstone bridge is shown here. So if you observe here, so in place of R1, R2 and R3, we are representing impedances. We are representing impedances, that is Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4. Okay. So whereas the excitation source for DC bridges are DC voltage, whereas in AC bridges the excitation voltage is alternating voltage. It is alternating voltage, and in place of detector we are use earphones. So to identify the AC signal, we will use headphones in place of detector. So in the place of detector, we will represent or we can identify the zero value balancing condition. When balance condition, we will identify the zero value. If it is unbalanced, the point will be shows the value. Okay, so that is the galvanometer. So whereas in AC bridge, we will use headphones. So when the bridge is balanced, there is no sound will be heard. Okay, so when the bridge is unbalanced, we will heard a beep sound. Okay, so that sound will be reaches. Okay, so when the we will adjust any arm here, we will consider the adjustment of any impedance. Okay, so by adjusting that impedance value, we can make the bridge is balanced. This AC bridge is balanced. When the bridge is balanced, there is no sound will be heard. Okay, the beep sound from the earphones will be does not heard when the bridge is balanced. If the bridge is unbalanced, we will get the beep sound. Okay, so like that, we can use the AC bridges for detection of balancing and unbalancing of the bridge circuits. So with this, see here, this bridge is similar to DC bridge except that bridge arms are impedances. The bridge arms are impedances. The bridge is excited by an AC source rather than a DC, and galvanometer is replaced by an detector. So that is a pair of headphones, okay, or AC detecting devices will be used. When the bridge is balanced, Z1 by Z3 is equals to Z2 by Z4, or Z1 multiplied with Z4 is equals to Z2 multiplied with Z3. Z1 Z4 is equals to Z2 Z3. Okay, here Z indicates the impedance. So impedance term is nothing but it is a complex variable. So it has both real and imaginary, and also has the magnitude and phase angles. Okay, so impedance is nothing but it is having both magnitude as well as the phase angle, because it is a complex variable. So it is a complex variable having real and imaginary terms. When the real and imaginary terms are having, and these are represented with the help of the magnitude and phase angle. In terms of polar representation, we can represent in terms of magnitude and phase angle. In terms of complex variable, we can represent it as a real and imaginary terms. Okay, so that analysis we'll see in the coming slides. So here Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4 are impedances of the arms. Okay, so each arm is having Z1, okay, corresponding Z1, Z2, Z3 and Z4, and are vector complex quantities that possesses phase angles. So these are will be having phase angles. Okay, it is necessary to adjust both the magnitude and phase angles of the impedance arms to achieve balance. So to achieve the balance, we have to adjust both the phase angle and the magnitude. That is, bridge must be balanced for both the reactance and the resistive component. So here, real value is nothing but the resistance component, and imaginary term we will call it as a reactive complex, reactive component. Okay, here we have R plus j omega. Assume that here we have real term plus, I think you may know this one, j omega L. Okay, so here this R term is the resistance component, and this imaginary term called as the reactive component. So this is a complex representation of an impedance. So that is Z. Okay, Z is equals to R plus j omega L. So R is resistive component and omega L is the inductive reactive component. So this reactive component depends upon the omega. Omega is equals to 2 pi f. Omega is equals to 2 pi f. 2 pi f. So it depends upon the frequency of the upright signal. The frequency increases, the omega value will be increased. And the omega value increases, the reactive component value also increases. So due to that, the overall Z component will be, or impedance will be increased. Impedance is corresponds to similar to as the resistance only. So opposing the flow of the current. Resistor is nothing but opposition for the flow of the current. Okay, and whereas the impedance corresponds to, it is opposition for the variation of the it depends upon the variation of the frequency. The frequency is increases, the omega value also increases. Okay, so omega increases means Z value increases. So when the frequency of the input signal is increases, the impedance offered by that particular component or that particular inductor or capacitor value will be opposition of the that component will be increases. So it will more opposition to the upright signal. Okay, so that opposition nature will depends upon the omega value. Omega corresponds to frequency, angular frequency. Here it is angular frequency. Okay. So like this, we can we can represent the imaginary component and imaginary component, that is impedance. It is having real and imaginary components. It is having both real and imaginary component, and generally real component corresponds to resistance, and imaginary component corresponds to reactive component. Okay. So here we have a comparison bridge. So comparison bridge. So we have compared the unknown inductance value, unknown capacitance value with the known standard capacitance and capacitance and inductive components. So in the capacitance bridges, comparison bridges. So here there are two types of comparison bridges. So the first one is capacitance comparison bridge. So the unknown capacitance is measured. The impedance or the unknown the capacitance of the unknown value or unknown value of the capacitor is determined by comparing with the some known capacitance value or standard capacitance value. So similarly, we have an inductance comparison bridge. So in this inductance comparison bridge also, so we will find out the unknown inductance value with the known or standard inductance values or inductor values. So the first one is capacitance comparison bridge. So this bridge here we will see the figure shows the 11.8 shows the capacitance comparison bridge. Okay, and if you can observe that, so here Rx and Cx, Rx and Cx are corresponds to the Cx is the capacitance value. Okay, and Rx is also associated capacitance with the associated resistance which is present with the unknown capacitance. So that will be represented as Rx in series with the Cx. Okay, so this is unknown capacitance and unknown resistance. So this resistance is associated resistance with the unknown capacitance value. So here we have to find out this Cx value and Cx value, unknown capacitance, so that we will see how using this capacitance comparison bridge. So another term, so generally we can use a third arm here. This is the first, second, and this is the third one is the third arm, generally used as adjust the resistance values. By adjusting that, we can make the bridges balance. Okay, generally we can use arm 3 as an adjusting purpose. By adjusting that, we can get the balancing of the bridge. Okay, that's why we are using a known capacitor and a resistance, variable resistance here. Okay, so by that connection, by adjusting this R0 value, and we can also use R1 also to be adjusted. Okay, so most of the cases R3 is arm 3 is used as for adjusting and balancing purposes. So if it is not sufficient, we can go for another arm also. So the known standard capacitor C3 is in series with R3. So third arm is known capacitance, and that is having with in series with R3. R3 may also include an added variable resistance needed to balance the pitch. And Cx is the unknown capacitor, and Rx is the small leakage resistance of the capacitor. So that we are told that it is associated with the Cx means. So the unknown capacitance also having some leakage resistance. Okay, so that will be represented as Rx. Okay, unknown resistance value. So in this case, the unknown capacitor is compared with the standard capacitor. So it is a comparison type of bridge. That's why the unknown capacitance is compared with the standard or known capacitance value, and the value of the resistance is compared with the and with its leakage resistance. So hence, so here Z1 is equals to, so the Z1 is equals to R1. So in the AC bridge, general Wheatstone bridge, AC Wheatstone bridge, we are having Z1 is equals to, here it is R1, R1 is Z1, and R2 is Z2, and R3. So R3 is in series with the C3. In series with the C3. So then we can get the Z3 impedance of the arm 3 is R3 minus J by omega C3. So I think you may know this, how the representing this one. I think you may know this. Okay. So that is Z plus 1 by J omega C. Just for remembrance purpose, I am showing here. So R plus 1 by J omega C. This is the representation for the resistance and capacitors are in series. Okay. So this is also in place of J omega L, we can also represent as uh, XC. Okay. XCC. Okay, or this is 1 by J omega C. When the J will come to numerator, we will get the negative sign. When the J will be comes to the numerator, so it becomes as a negative. Then it is R minus J by omega C3. J by omega C. So here the resistance C3 and R3 are connected in series, and that will be represented as C3 is Z3 is equals to R3 minus J by omega C3. Similarly, for unknown capacitance value, its impedance is represented as Rx in series with Cx. That is Rx minus J by omega Cx. So like this we can get the Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4. In place of Z4 we have unknown capacitance. So for that impedance we are considered as Zx. Unknown capacitance will be represented as Zx. Okay. Next. So condition for balance bridge, all of you know that. So Z1, Z4. So Z1, Z4 is equals to Z2, Z3. So whereas Z1, Z4 in place, Z4 will having Zx. And by substituting those values in the previous slides, Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4. So we will get these equations. So Z1, R1, Rx minus J1, R1 by omega Cx is equals to R2, R3 minus J of R2 by omega C3. So here in the left side we have real term and imaginary term. Similarly on the right side we have real term and imaginary term. So we will compare real terms and imaginary terms, and by comparing the two complex quantities are equal when both real and their imaginary terms are equal. So therefore R1 Rx is equals to R2 R3. R1 Rx is equals to R2 R3, and from this we will get the Rx. Rx is equals to R2 R3 by R1, and from here in the imaginary representation we will have R1 by omega Cx is equals to R2 by omega C3. Okay. So from this we will get the Cx. Cx is equals to C3 into R1 by R2. So here Cx is the unknown capacitance value and Rx is the unknown resistance value. It is nothing but a small leakage resistance in the capacitance. So this will be like this. We can measure the unknown resistance and capacitance. We can measure the unknown capacitance by comparing with the known capacitance values. Here the C3 is the known capacitance value. Okay. So next we have inductance comparison bridge. So same as in the capacitive comparison bridge. So in the inductance comparison bridge, we will use a standard inductor value. So inductance or inductor. So by comparing with that inductor, we will adjust the we will find the unknown inductance value of a inductance value of an inductor. So this figure shows the schematic diagram of inductance comparison bridge. So here also same as the previous one. Okay. So the third arm is used as for adjusting purpose. By using resistance R3 we can adjust, and L3 is the standard inductor. Okay. And in the arm 4 we will connect the unknown inductance or unknown inductor value. We will connect the unknown inductor, and its inductance value is the Lx. Okay, unknown inductance value, and associated resistance with that inductor is the Rx. So in this values of the unknown inductance Lx and internal resistance Rx are obtained by comparison with the standard inductor and resistance, that is L3 and R3. The equation for balance condition, all of you know that Z1 Z4 that is equals to Z2 Z3, Z1 Zx is equals to Z2 Z3. So the inductive balance equation. So this inductive balance equation is, so Lx is equals to L3 into R2 by R1. Okay. So here, and resistive balance equation yields R1 Rx is equal to R2 R3 by R1. In this bridge, R2 is chosen as the inductive balance control and R3 as the resistive balance control. So here we are using two adjustments, R2 and R3. Okay. So by adjusting the R2, we can get the inductive balance. So inductive value balance, and by adjusting the R3 we can get resistance balance. So generally fixed resistance ratio or variable standards can be used. So balance is obtained by alternately varying all L3 or R3. So here a term is there, Q. So Q is nothing but it indicates the quality factor of the capacitor and the inductor. So we will study this quality factor in the future. In this unit, in the last we have quality factor. So what is the quality factor we will see. Okay. So generally we can measure the quality of the given inductor using the quality factor. So that represents the Q. Q is the quality factor. Okay, it is associated with the inductor coils. Okay, so generally we can measure the unknown reactance. The Q of the unknown resistance is greater than the standard Q. It is necessary to place a variable resistance in series with the unknown reactance to obtain the balance. If the unknown inductance has a high Q, it is permissible to vary the resistance ratio when a variable standard inductor is not available. So you have any doubts up to now? So here how we can obtain the Zx Z3. So Z3 is nothing but, I will give that expression also. So Z3 is equals to R3 plus J omega L. It is R3. This is the R3 plus J omega L3. Okay. So for inductance value, it is represented as, the impedance will be represented as R plus J omega L. So here this is the arm 3. That's why it is R3 plus J omega L3. So in place of unknown resistance, that is Z4 is represented as Rx plus J omega Lx. R4 Rx plus J omega Lx. So by substituting in this balancing equation, Z1 is equals to R1, Z2 is equals to R2, and Z3 is equals to R3 plus J omega L3, and unknown inductance is determined by the Z4, and that is Zx. Zx is equals to Rx plus J omega Lx. So from that, by equating and separating the real and imaginary parts, we will obtain the inductance value Lx and the resistance value Rx. Unknown inductance Lx and unknown resistance Rx. Okay. So this is the Rx. So now, up to now, we are using the standard values of capacitance and standard value of inductance or measurement of corresponding capacitance, unknown inductance values. So, and there is separate bridges are there. That is here. The next one is Maxwell bridge. Maxwell bridge. This Maxwell bridge is used for measurement of the unknown inductance value. Unknown inductance value. So this is the bridge for the Maxwell bridge structure. So here we are using a variable resistor in parallel with the capacitance C1. A variable resistor R1 is in parallel with C1, which is connected at arm 1. In the arm 1, we will connect capacitor C1 and R1 are in parallel. Okay. So whereas in inductive comparison bridge, so the variables R3 and L3 are connected in arm 3. So there is a variation here you can identify. Okay. So R1 and C1 are in parallel, are connected at arm 1. Okay. The Maxwell bridge is shown here. So it measures the unknown inductance in terms of known capacitor. It measures the unknown inductor with known capacitor. The use of the standard arm offers the advantage of compactness and easy shielding. The capacitor is almost a lossless component. Okay, so we will consider a capacitor, so there is no loss. So there are certain losses will be there in the capacitors. Okay, so we will consider a lossless component. So one arm has a resistance R1 in parallel with C1, and hence it is easier to write the balance equation using the admittance of arm 1 instead of the impedance. So when these two are connected in parallel, okay, so we can represent those complex variable in terms of impedance. So admittance. So admittance is nothing but the inverse of the impedance. Admittance is nothing but the inverse of the impedance. So admittance is represented by y1, y, capital Y. So y is equals to 1 by z1. So when C1 and R1 are in parallel, so it is easy to represent in terms of the admittance. That's why, so in the coming this equations, we will represent the arm 1 in terms of the admittance. So the general equation for bridge balance is, so all of you know that Z1 Zx is equals to Z2 Z3. Z1 Z2 Z1 Zx or Z4 is equals to Z2 Z3. Okay, and from that we can find the Zx is equals to unknown impedance or unknown value. Zx is equals to Z2 Z3 by Z1. Okay, and from this Z1 1 by Z1 is represented as Y1, because Y1 is nothing but the inverse of the Z1. So we can write in terms of the 1 by Z1 is equals to Y1. So admittance. So from this equation, so we'll get. So where Z1 is equals to R1 is in parallel with C1. R1 is in parallel with C1. So that is represented as Y1 is equals to 1 by Z1. Okay. So Y1 is obtained as 1 by R1 plus J omega C1. Okay. So generally, okay. So 1 by R1 plus J omega C1. And Z2 is equals to R2. Z3 is equals to R3. And Zx is equals to Rx in series with Lx. It is represented as Rx plus J omega Lx. Lx is equals to Rx plus J omega Lx. Okay. So from this equation, Zx will substitute all these Z1, Z2, Z3, Zx. So in place of Z1, we are substituting Y1. Okay. So by substituting, we will get Rx plus J omega Lx is equals to R2 R3 into 1 by R1 plus J omega C1. Okay. So from that, we will get the real and imaginary terms, separating the real and imaginary terms by multiplying R2 and R3. So you will get the R2 R3 over R1 plus J omega C1 into R2 R3. So equating the real and imaginary terms, we have Rx is equals to R2 R3 by R1 and Lx is equals to C1 R2 R3. So I was told that is Q. So Q is the quality factor of the coil, and it is represented represented as a omega Lx by Rx. Omega L by R. Generally, we can represent it as a omega L by R. So to represent the quality of the inductor coil, so we can represent Q is in terms of the omega into L by R. Okay. So in this case, the unknown inductor value or the unknown inductor quality factor is also determined by using these balancing equations. Okay. So Q is obtained as omega into Lx by Rx, whereas Lx is equals to C1 into R2 R3 and Rx is equals to R2 R3 by R1. So by substituting here, so we will get omega C1 into R1. Quality factor Q is equals to C1 omega into C1 into R1. So Maxwell bridge is limited to the measurement of low Q values, and we are to find the Q value. So that Q value is in the range of 1 to 10. So for measuring in that particular range only, this Maxwell bridge is suitable for measurement. Okay, so it is a one limitation. So limitation means you can consider it as nothing but a disadvantage. So because we can able to measure up to 1 to 10 only. Your quality factor we can measure up to 1 to 10 only. The measurement is independent of the excitation frequency. So in this case, measurement is independent of the excitation frequency, and the scale of the resistance can be calculated to read inductance directly. So Maxwell bridge advantages and disadvantages. The Maxwell bridge using a fixed capacitor has the disadvantage that there is an interaction between the resistance and the reactance balances. By using the capacitor, so there is a interaction between the resistance and the reactance balances. So it is a disadvantage, and this can be avoided by varying the capacitances instead of R2 and R3 to obtain a reactance balance. So however, the bridge can be made to read directly in Q. Okay. So we have advantage that we can get the Q value directly. So that can be also read on the meter. The value of the Q can be read on the meter directly. We can obtain the value of the Q on the meter. Q meter is there. So by using that Q meter, we can measure the Q value of the this unknown inductor coil, inductance of the inductor coil. Okay, so this bridge is particularly suited for inductances, that is inductance measurements, since comparison with the capacitor is more ideal than with another inductance. So commercial bridge measures from 1 to 1000 Hz with plus or minus 2% error. So if the Q is very large, R1 becomes excessively large and it is impractical to obtain a satisfactory variable standard resistance in the range of various values required. So generally quality factor value should be high. Okay, so it indicates the quality of the coil. Okay, so in the quality factor we are having a omega L by R. Okay, so in the if the L value, that is offering inductance value is high, it means it is offering good quality. Okay, and having lesser resistance. Okay, so that's why the quality factor of the coil should be high. So to get the higher values of the Q, so in such situation we have to adjust the R value. So the higher values of resistances are required. So to get the higher value of resistance or standard resistance, it is difficult. Okay. So if you observe here, Q is equals to omega L by R. So quality factor. So here the L is the inductance. Okay. So it is the quality factor should be high. So it means the quality factor should be high. It means resistance offered by that inductor coil is should be low. The resistance offered by the inductor coil should be 0 or minimum. Okay, so when the resistance of the coil is minimum, so it will be offers maximum inductance. It offers maximum or it provides maximum inductance value. Okay, so that's why we if the inductance value is very high and resistance value is very low or minimum, we can say it is having high Q value. So for good inductors values, so the quality factor should be high. Okay, so whereas in this Maxwell bridge we will obtain the unknown inductance value in terms of the known capacitance value and resistors. In terms of the known capacitance, we will measure by known standard capacitance value and resistance value. We can measure the quality factor of the coil and the unknown inductance with C1. Okay, so we will measure the unknown inductance value in terms of the C1. So that is the Maxwell bridge. Okay, so in this session we are discussed about the AC bridges. So we have discussed about the AC bridges, and in the AC bridges, AC Wheatstone bridge, generalized AC Wheatstone bridge we have discussed, and after that we are seeing the comparison type of the bridges by using